A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good today, 16th November 2020. Day is Monday. I'm sure you all have enjoyed Diwali festival with your loved ones in Gujarat. Today is Happy New Year, Gujarati New Year. In Gujarat, we follow Vikram Samvat calendar. So as per Vikram Samvat calendar, today is the first day of the Kartik month. And today is Kartik Sud Ekam, that is Gujarati New Year. So God bless us all. This is my prayers for every one of us, that may God bless us all with health, wealth, prosperity and peace of mind. On our table, we have 5 important articles. 2 are from Times of India, 2 articles from the Hindu newspaper, and the last one is from Indian Express. And of course, we have some news items on our table as well. Dear friends, 2 days to go, today and tomorrow. Big Diwali sale will end tomorrow. Make the most out of it. Flat 50% discount on top when you use Diwali 10 code. You will get extra 10% discount. So I'm talking about 60% discount on all our smart courses. Make the most out of it. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Cut to grow. The period between September and mid-November recorded around 35% increase in property registrations in Maharashtra as compared to the same period last year. 2.5 months of 2019 has registered 35% more property in Maharashtra. What is the reason behind it? It's a very simple reason, but it has delivered. Of course, it has produced the end result or fruits. The Maharashtra government reduced stamp duty on the purchase and sale of property in Maharashtra. Cut to grow is from Times of India. Now, this hike or this increase in property registration is not just good for Maharashtra government and people of Maharashtra, but I strongly believe it is a big, interesting lesson for other states as well as central government. On one side, we can see overall economic growth has collapsed, but it's very interesting that in Maharashtra, more and more people are buying properties. More people are selling and more people are buying properties, right? If you are trying to sell something and if there is a purchase, if there is a buyer who is ready to buy the product or service that you are selling, that indicates that the market is quite vibrant. Sentiments are quite positive. The state the state government deserves credit for initiating a bold measure in the backdrop of a severe resource crunch. Now, generally what happens is that when resources go down, government, generally speaking, tries to fetch or collect as much revenue as possible. But here, Maharashtra government has very smartly decreased stamp duty from 5%. It was 5%, but it is reduced to 2% for the period of September, October, November and December. For 4 months, if you are purchasing or selling property in Maharashtra, you will pay just 2% stamp duty. So, positive impact of this decision, of course, transaction cost has gone down. So when transaction cost is down, it's quite natural, like people, it will, whenever transaction cost goes down, it will boost demand. I'll give you one example. Petrol price. I'm just giving you a rough example. I think this will relate with all of us. So let's say if you are paying 75 rupees per liter for petrol. Now just imagine if tomorrow the price of petrol, it's not going to go down, but I'm just giving you an example to understand. Just imagine if petrol price is reduced to 25 rupees per liter. Just imagine, right? I know this is a sort of wild imagination, but yes, 25 rupees per liter petrol. You are going to use more petrol, right? You will not turn off your car, right? There are so many things that will change, right? You will go for long drives quite often and so many things. Because the price has gone down, because of lower price, the demand has gone up. It works other way around as well. When price goes up, the demand will drop. So the problem with property in our country, in various different states, what happens is the stamp duty is quite high. So overall transaction cost is high, and this dampens the business. High transaction costs encourage black money as well. But on the other side, when tax compliance is easy, when tax rate is reasonable, right, then people will pay their tax. People will, there will be no motivation to generate that much black money. I'm not saying that this will end black money, but you will see a drastic drop for sure in generation of black money when tax compliance is easy and when tax rate is reasonable. So more transactions will take place. When more transactions will take place, what will happen? Of course, government will get, earlier on you used to have, let's say, 5 registration in one day. Today, when you have 2% stamp duty, you will have 20 registration or maybe 30 registration. So government is going to end up getting more revenue. The reduction in stamp duty also nudge people, right? Buyers, they will feel a sort of nudge. They will feel like this is the right environment, because see, on the other side, RBI has injected huge amount of liquidity in the market. Right? RBI has reduced repo rate, and more liquidity is given to banks and things. More money is given to banks. So on one side, interest rate is low. On the other side, if transaction cost is coming down, then people will feel a nudge. Like people will feel that this is the right time to buy a property. So this is a very interesting, good decision by Maharashtra government, and this is a lesson for other states as well as central government. One more interesting thing is that central government is also trying to trying every thing in its book. It is trying every particular possible. It is leaving no stone unturned, to be honest, to make sure that economy gets a boost. And here state government's measure is also quite rejuvenating, or I would say it is like a boosters that is pushing you ahead. So state government's decision, when it is synchronized with central government's decision, when we find the synchronization, it delivers. And for a reform as well to deliver, it is very important that central government, state governments, they are on a same page. So this is, of course, a lesson for other states, as I already said, and construction activity, increase in construction activity will ripple out into the larger economy, because more industries will, their products, their services, their demands will, of course, demand for their products and services will go up, isn't it? So yeah, that's everything. Let's move on to next one. To download the PDF of today's lecture, check out my Telegram channel, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now this one, Pattanam. Pattanam is a place in Kerala. Now dear friends, this is an interview that you will find in today's Times of India's editorial page. Each and every line of this interview is interesting. It is very important, because they ask you this type of question in your prelims examination, not just in UPSC but in other state level exams as well. And this excavation, this new findings are not just important for Kerala or India, but it is important for the whole world. So I'm feeling quite positive about this topic, that you will find at least one question in upcoming prelims or upcoming examinations. Okay. So archaeological excavations at Pattanam, a small village an hour's drive from Kochi, so this one is in Kerala, tell a fascinating story of a cosmopolitan, what is cosmopolitan culture or cosmopolitan city? A place where you find people from different parts of the world living in a particular city indicates that this is, or a particular city is, a cosmopolitan city. So cosmopolitan people who traded with Roman Empire around 2000 or 2 millennia ago. The finds point to the fabled port town of Muziris. Very important name for you to remember, Muziris, right? Muziris is also mentioned in the Greek text Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, and Musiri Pattanam in the Tamil Sangam literature. Again, keep these two names right in your mind. It should be there in your, on your fingertip. So pay attention here. Very interesting, very important article for your examination. So basic question, what led you to Pattanam? In 2001, one British museologist friend concluded that after visiting this place, he found a pottery, and this pottery, he said, means it has Italian collection because it was made up of Vesuvius volcanic material belonging to Italy. Then we find the mention of this place in various ancient literature sources. Two are just here on your screen. And how do you conclude this village in Muziris? So when DNA extract analysis was conducted on human skeleton fragments, it was found that 4 people belonged to South Asia, 4 were from West Asia, and 3 from Mediterranean region. We found material from Gibraltar to Catalonia to southern China. Patanam artifacts were discovered at sites like Hepu in China and Khor Rori in Jordan. Pattanam has the Indian Ocean region's largest cache of Mediterranean amphora jar shreds. You find pottery, jewelry, and so many other foreign items here. And it is also said that people living in this region, they were very sensible. They had this humanist sense. They were very rational. They were not too much into religion or warfare. They were open-minded, believed in technology, welcomed foreign trade and contacts. Pattanam society was very organized, and urbanization was also up to the mark. You find things like pottery, burned bricks, and structures resembling warehouses, tiled roofs, toilets, ring wells. And you find gold, iron, copper, and lead. This and terracotta, of course. These are the items, metals, and other precious things that you find in this place called Pattanam. People from 30 cultures were coming and going with their goods, technology, ideas, and languages in this Muziris or Pattanam, Muziris Pattanam. And Muziris Papyrus Agreement between Alexandria banker and local merchant reveals a sophisticated understanding of trade. So far, you can, of course, easily guess that this is a very important topic in today's Times of India. And the last question is, how did the Pattanam settlement end? There is no one answer to it. There are still, we don't have any solid evidence for it. But it is believed that because this place was located in a sort of riverine island, so it was like a river island some 2,000 years ago. And of course, water bodies are, bringing mud and silt and so many other things with it. So gradually, because of deposition of silt and everything, this was this riverine islands became part of the mainland. But still, we are not sure. We have no indication how the site declined and the port disappeared. So I don't think so you will find any particular question on this end of this Pattanam settlement. But other things that we have discussed so far, they are very important. Moving on to next item, border on the boil. You see, Pakistan, we know it very well. What they do is, before every winter, this happens every year, what they will do is they will increase their shelling and artillery fires and things, so that under the cover of this firing and heavy firing, infiltrators can infiltrate into Jammu and Kashmir, and then later on they can create troubles for our country. So with a series of ceasefire violations by Pakistani army that targeted civilians and heavy artillery fire by the Indian army, the LOC is once again on the boil. It's very unfortunate that we lost 6 civilians, 4 Indian army personnel and 2 BSF Jawan, where they became battle casualty from the firing that was done by Pakistan. Of course, we have given them a befitted reply, and as per official Pakistani media, 1 Pakistani soldier and 5 civilians were killed by Indian cross-border shelling. Now, on Deepavali or Diwali Day, Prime Minister Modi's speech was very interesting. He said that he warned of a prachand jawab. Prachand means fierce reply to Pakistan, and without taking name of Pakistan or China, he said that we will take no nonsense. We will If you think that you can bully us, then that's not going to happen. We are prepared and we can give you a befitting reply. What Pakistan did, Pakistan's new diplomatic tactic is this, that Pakistan's foreign minister, along with military spokesperson, they said, or they claimed to have a dossier on Indian involvement in terror attacks inside. They said that they have given a dossier, and it's like an official document or letter expressing your unhappiness about a particular event. So they said that India is involved in China-Pakistan economic corridor terror attacks. Now this is very futile, this is very illogical, this is imaginary of Pakistan to blame India about terrorist attacks in Pakistan. The whole world is aware about this fact that Pakistan is the terror hub. It's the main place, right? It's the breeding ground for terrorist and terrorism sort of ideology. Now, why Pakistan is bringing China-Pakistan economic corridor here? Because it directly, indirectly wants to involve, China as well here. International level, it wants to display India in a bad light, and it wants to, of course, create troubles for India, because India is going to be non-permanent member of UNSC for 2 years, starting from January 2021. The second thing is Pakistan is also going to face this review, right? FATF review in February. So before that, Pakistan wants to, project India in a bad light so that it can. This is sort of a new tactic of Pakistan. And if we go through army officials, Indian army officials, then back in 2003, Indian government and Pakistani government, we signed a ceasefire agreement, 2003 famous India-Pakistan ceasefire agreement. And since then, in last 17 years, 2020 has registered highest levels of firing from Pakistan. Pakistan has violated 4,052. It has 4,052 ceasefire violations were conducted by Pakistan. So, to conclude, we can say that India has to prepare. India is, of course, prepared for a two-front situation. When I say two-front, on northwest side we have Pakistan, and on north as well as northeast side we have China. So together at LOC and at LAC, both of them can team up and they can create this sort of situation. They can attack us, but we have to prepare and we have to be ready for this. And I'm sure our forces are ready for this two-front situation. Moving on to next item, Suu Kyi again. This is coming from Myanmar. Now, Myanmar's National League for Democracy. This is Aung San Suu Kyi's party has been victorious in this second general election. And a few years back in 2015, Myanmar had its first proper, full, truly contested election in 2015. If you go through the if I take you through the brief history of Myanmar, then for last, roughly speaking, 50 years, military used to rule Myanmar, and we find so many bad things conducted by military in Myanmar. So, people were fed up with this thing, and there was a call for democracy. In 2015, Aung San Suu Kyi, her party, won the election, and this is for the second time that her party has got huge majority. Right, you need 322 seats to be victorious or declared, winner in election. But her party has got 346 out of 476 seats. So clearly, her party is a winner. Election Commission is still counting the votes, and so far, opposition, that is Union Solidarity and Development Party, has just won 25 seats, and it is backed by military. So on one side you have military and opposition, on the other side you have Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD. Now, as I told you, that it was ruled by military, so there was a call for democracy, and we find that Myanmar is going in right direction, but still things are not sorted out yet. Aung San Suu Kyi needs to do more. A few years ago, we saw this 740,000 Rohingya Muslims, they left Rakhine state, and most of them are living in Cox's Bazar, that is in Bangladesh. Some of them migrated to India, some of them they migrated to Saudi and Malaysia and so many other countries. So this was the biggest thing in Myanmar, and everyone wants that this problem is sorted out as quickly as possible. But we find this new government coming in, and let's hope that this time Myanmar will do everything that is possible, or the government will do everything that is possible to sort out this Rakhine problem as well as ethnic issues that are going on in Myanmar. Now, to understand Myanmar, you have to understand that just winning election is not going to be enough, because as per the constitution, a block of seats in parliament is reserved for soldiers, which would prevent any amendment to the constitution. And the military would control 3 key government ministries, including defense ministry. So you can imagine that if your military is independent, it is not controlled by the government. So you are going to see lack of coordination between government and military, right? In our country, military is controlled by the government, right? Of course, they can take independent decisions when it comes to operation levels, but overall control is of Government of India. A defense minister, is the main man when it comes to our armed forces. And of course, you have president, right? He is the supreme commander, but we have a proper defense ministry here. But over there, defense ministry is controlled by army or military, and the military is very powerful in Myanmar. So the bottom line is that let's hope that this country, that I believe is heading in the right direction. We cannot expect things to change in one night. It will take time. It will take efforts from all stakeholders of Myanmar as well as international community to change things in Myanmar. And let's hope that this path, even though it's difficult, let's hope that Myanmar will become a full democracy, and it will turn out to be a more maturing democracy. Let's hope. Last article, how to end pollution. Very interesting article from Indian Express. Now, dear friends, we have talked about pollution many a times. So what is a new thing in this article? The most interesting thing about this article is that we find a very solid solution to end pollution in our country. But before that, we have to understand that pollution or air pollution to be precise, is not something that we find only around Diwali or in winter time. In our country, in various different cities, we know it very well that air is very dirty, isn't it? And first thing that we need to do as a country is to understand this fact, that pollution is a solvable problem. We can solve it. There is a solution, and if we implement it, then yes, we can see a result. What about the speed? The speed is not going to be radical or fast. It's going to be a gradual thing. It's going to be step by step, incremental increase in air quality. We have, so many sources of pollution or things they contribute to, this air quality pollution. And if we go through this study conducted by Chandra Venkatraman of IIT Mumbai and other scientists, they find that cooking fires, or this cooking gas, not cooking gas, sorry, but cooking fire that we use, this, wood and cow dung cakes and other things that are used by people in predominantly village area and in urban slums, right? Cooking fires are the single largest source of pollution, right? This particles that diffuse from cooking fire, they don't just stay in your house, they leave your house, and wind will distribute it in various different parts of your town as well as overall environment. So cooking fire is the biggest thing. Then we have coal-fired power plants, various industries, crop residue burning, construction and road dust, and vehicles are further down on the list. And this is a good example. This article also says that this LPG scheme, remember, a scheme by Government of India, a very famous scheme. Can you give the name or stick the answer in the comment section? Give me the name of that scheme that is very famous in our country, right? It's associated with providing gas connection to poor household. So what we need to do is we need to replace this firewood dung or crop residue that is used for cooking in rural India as well as some urban slums with LPG or induction stove or other electric cooking appliances. Old coal power plants must be closed and replaced with wind and solar power and batteries or other forms of energy storage, while newer plants must install new pollution control equipment. No new coal-fired power plants should be built, with renewables being cheaper. Coal is obsolete for power generation. Diesel and petrol vehicles must gradually be replaced with EVs, of course, and farmers as well will have to switch crops or adopt alternative methods of residue management. Judiciary is very powerful, but it is not scientific and technically competent. And we don't have any proper one agency that can look after all various different issues going on with pollution. So the solution here that we find is very interesting, that we need to create one Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. This EPA should be independent and it should be empowered to levy pollution fee or cess. This money can be used for supporting green projects, and it should be used for converting your polluting things with new technologies, so that we can bring down pollution, and cost can also be looked after by this cess or this fee that is collected. Pollution fees can start small, and the EPA can announce that they will rise by a certain percentage every year. So this will give businesses enough time to adjust as well. It will not create a sort of disruption. And what we need to do is we need to charge or put this levy, this cost, fees should be levied where the production chain is most concentrated. For example, when we talk about diesel, right? So if you think that you will collect cess from each and every diesel car user, then that's going to be very difficult. But what you can do is, when you are producing or refining this diesel, at the same time you can add fee on it. So every person who is buying a liter of diesel is paying a fee as well, isn't it? So this will make it easier for government to collect, or EPF to collect this money. And EPA has to be given some independence. I see it like UPSC or Election Commission of India, that you appoint your main person for 5 years, and you can remove that person only by impeachment. So this will give that person a solid constitutional backup. At the same time, you need to guarantee budget. You need to give some fund every year to this particular agency, EPA, so that it can operate smoothly and it can hire its own staff. And now the question is, why government will go for it? Why government will build one agency that can have this much of powers? The reason, there are two benefits for politicians as well as government. A major attraction of an independent EPA for politicians is politicians in power is that they can pass on the blame for decisions on pollution fees to the EPA. So EPA will report to Parliament, EPA will report to people, isn't it? So government can directly say that if pollution is going up, then government can ask EPA that what you're doing, you need to do something about it, isn't it? And people will also blame. So there will be no politics, dirty politics on air pollution, or it will reduce, of course. Second thing, a second major attraction is that pollution fees raise revenue for the government. It's going to bring more money for the government. So the government will be happy about this thing, isn't it? That it will get money, and this money can be given by government to various different industries and people, individuals, etc., for bringing pollution down. So these two are strong points, and this is a very rational thinking to create one EPA in our country that is independent, that can have this much powers, as well as it will collect or apply cess, and then the money will be given to government. Part can be kept by EPA, the other can be kept by government. So it's more like a win-win for everyone. So think about it with this, dear friends. These are some news items for you guys, and make the most out of this big Diwali sale. I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.